Hello everybody and welcome back to Open Source Tonight. Today what I wanted to talk to you all about is the open source video codec VP9 and the open source audio codec Opus. So if we take a look here at my screen, you can see this is the Wikipedia for VP9. I'll make it a little bigger. And it is a royalty-free open source codec. That's what it is. And it's designed to be a predecessor or successor to VP8. Which is still a little bit around, but VP9 is kind of the big thing these days. So you can find VP9 all over the place. So for example, if I do stats for nerds on one of my videos here, we can see if we look up here, codec VP9 with audio type Opus. YouTube often distributes videos in said format. So basically in a nutshell, VP9, you could think of it as like an open source H.265 in a way. And you can think of Opus as like an open source AAC, I suppose, in a way, because it's an open source video codec and audio codec. And they seem to be, at least to me, visually and audibly, they seem to be about the same quality with about the same bit rates. So in that sense, they're very similar. My streaming service that I've been working on for a while to be able to deliver things like this content to you on my own website and such is going to use VP9 and Opus because I want to use open source codecs for a variety of reasons. And one of them is the fact I really want to support open source. Another is the fact that the licensing system around a lot of the proprietary codecs is complicated and I don't want to have to navigate it. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, folks, but in a nutshell, that's what we're talking about. And VP9 was created by a company that Google later acquired. And that company was called, I'm looking here. It was called, hold on, O2 Technologies, okay? So, and VP9 was their codec that they last created, and then Google bought them, is what happened. And web browsers like Firefox and Chrome natively support VP9. The Edge browser these days on Mac, Windows, Linux supports VP9, etc., etc., etc. So these days, delivering VP9 and Opus works almost everywhere, with the exclusion from what I'm aware of, mainly that Apple's devices often don't support them. So the iPhone and such doesn't support them. Now on the Mac, this isn't so much of a problem because something like a Firefox or a Google Chrome can actually use them. And actually, if I recall correctly, VP9 and Opus on the desktop Safari on macOS is actually supported as well, but that's a pretty recent inclusion. Anyway, regardless of the matter, that's really the biggest thing for me about my streaming service, and for you if you're deploying videos to the web with only VP9 and Opus, is the fact that it will work fine on basically everything from what I can tell, pretty much, it's modern, except for the latest iPhones, iPads, stuff like that, because Apple expects you to deliver HLS to those devices, and Apple expects you to use H.264 or 5 as far as the video feed goes. So, regardless, anyway, I thought it would be an interesting video just to talk about this. Let me know what your thoughts are on open source video codecs in the comments. Do you want to use them? Let me know, because I'd like to know. And a bonus tip for those staying to the end, VP9 video is usually, on the web at least, placed in a WebM file. So the extension will be .webm. And yeah, that's the extension and format that, again, my streaming service is working on with MPEG Dash. Anyway, I won't rattle on about that. You probably heard enough about my plans and work that I'm working on for that. But anyway, everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all again very soon. Goodbye, everybody. And action.